Let me know. I feel that. You feel that? I'm okay with that too.
This time, we'd like to call the regular meeting of the Farmington Central Community Unit School District 265 to order. You get a roll call of board members.
Brewer. Here. Ferrelli. Here. Johnson.
Here.
Marr.
Here.
Oldfield.
Here.
Slack.
Here.
Stanley.
Here. All right. First up is honor and acknowledge for the Farmington Central Junior High. Mr. Upton.
How we doing?
Good.
Good, because I'm still recovering a little bit from that Nashville trip. It was really, really good though.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So today I've got 6 students that we're going to acknowledge as kind of our students of the month at the junior high. So some of them are here tonight, some of them are not because they're involved in extracurricular activities. So we're going to acknowledge who's here. So first we're going to start with 6th grade Gracie Dooley. There's Gracie right there. Involved is a great word to describe Gracie. Gracie played on the softball team. She's an active part of student council, and she still has time to volunteer to help others while staying on top of her studies. And for that reason, Gracie, your teacher selected you to be Student of the Month for October, so congratulations. Calvin Thompson is our other 6th grade student. Calvin is a top-notch student who always comes to class prepared and ready to learn. He leads by example with a smile and a willing spirit, eager to help and encourage those around him with his enthusiasm and thoughtfulness. Congratulations, Calvin, on being the student. Jacob Evans. Is Jacob here? Probably not, because I think he's in Glassburg right now playing against the Illini Bluffs on the basketball team. But he's a respectful young man. He's willing to speak up on others' behalf and ask questions. He takes initiative to get things done. Jacob is caring and kind towards his classmates. He's conscientious about making sure his schoolwork is completed and turned in on time, often going above and beyond. So Jacob is one of our 7th grade student of the month. Lydia's out of town. So Lydia Overcash was our other student of the month. She is a very hard worker. She loves to get involved and is in many activities here at Farmington Central Junior High School, such as softball, basketball, and speech. She is very determined to work hard and has confidence in her abilities. She strives to succeed. So those were my 7th grade. I know one of my 8th grade students is here. Jason Kennelly. Jason is known for being a student that seeks to help others. His teachers know that he wants to do his best. Jason is also very respectful and kind to everyone. He enjoys being a member of student council and doing activities to help the school. So Jason, congratulations on being here. And our other 8th grade student of the month is Trina Austin. Trina is a very positive young lady. Farmington teachers have seen her positive outlook and behavior impact the students around her for the better. Trina is a hard worker and is dedicated to her studies and extracurricular activities. So congratulations, Trina, on being here. So we're going to take a picture. We did it out in the hallway, so kind of give a little bit of space. If you guys want to shoot right that direction over there, we'll get a couple pictures. And parents, you're more than welcome to come out and take a picture as well. Thank you.
All right, moving on, we have Farmington Central High School student recognition. Mr. McMillan.
We have several students to recognize tonight. And some from our previous month in October, a freshman sophomores and juniors. It's a new program we started this year. Part of the OHI team decided that we wanted to start recognizing an outstanding freshman, sophomore, and junior in addition to the senior. So I've got lots of kids to announce tonight, but we'll start off with our senior of the month. Come on up here, Maddie. Congratulations to November Senior of the Month, Maddie Snyder. Maddie has been involved in Key Club and volleyball for 4 years. She is currently a captain of the volleyball team. She's involved in our Unified PE class, member of National Honor Society, and participant in the Sign Club. Maddie volunteers at YMCA as a tumbling instructor, worked at Rotary Booth in Spoon River Drive, and worked at community events such as Wildlife Scary Park, Chili Suppers, to name a few. Maddie is ranked in the top 20% of her class and plans to major in communications of science and disorders. Congratulations, Maddie. Emma Evans was our sophomore of the month for October. Emma's pretty much involved in all. Volleyball, basketball, theater, band. You can see her doing many things throughout the school in addition to being an outstanding student. So very well recognized, very well deserved. Congratulations, Emma. Madeline Helly. Madeline is a freshman here at Farmington. Her teachers have commented on her strong work ethic and her involvement in many activities. Just a freshman, her dispositions are what I guess separates her from her classmates. So congratulations, Maddie. She was the October freshman of the month. Our junior of the month for October is Annabelle Easley. Annabelle's also involved in many activities. theater, band, cross country, you name it, Annabelle does it all. I'll also say Annabelle has dog sits for me periodically as well. Not that that played a role in this. Wonderful student, great dispositions. Congratulations, Annabelle, our junior of the month for October. For November, Anna Wavell was selected as freshman of the month. Anna's in marching band, FFA theater crew, and also does Harvest leadership team. She excels in the classroom and all activities. So congratulations, Anna. Sophomore of the month, Laura Stevens. Laura's a member of the Harvest leadership team, active in FFA. Laura also has wonderful dispositions and attitudes, and her teachers all comment on her wonderful character. Congratulations, Laura. Congratulations to Sam Depperman, who's our junior of the month for November. He's active in FFA. He attends Leadership Development Conference and to be the best he can. Sam also has wonderful dispositions. I'll also tell you, he's not afraid to come by my office and tell me what he thinks. So, congratulations. I'm sorry, you guys got to get your picture.
All right, next on the agenda is soccer team, first year for the co-op. So we have Mr. Flavor. And we have a whole folks. All right.
Thank you for taking this time. It's a little bit different. It's not that we're having any special recognition other than to bring the soccer program in front of the Farmington School Board. If you recall, about a year ago, we started going down the avenue of pursuing soccer. And Steve Schaefer, who is the athletic director at Illini Bluffs High School, and I started having conversations about the possibility of entering into a co-op. Through a lot of work and a lot of trying to figure out some things and trying to recruit kids, we went through the next few months, put together a cooperative agreement, also had an intergovernmental agreement between the two districts. And during this season, we started off having 5 students, we ended with 3. And I don't see any of them here tonight, but they, you know, it was a pretty good venture going down there. We drove down there a few times, got to watch them play. It was some pretty exciting soccer, and it was what I thought was a successful season. And you don't always measure success in terms of wins and losses, but the agreement, the cooperation that we had between the two districts, which is what you want. Mr. Schaefer and I just had a very easy working relationship in going through this cooperative and getting our kids where they need to be. And, it was a lot of communication, but it was also, I thought, a very successful experience this year. I'll turn it over to Mr. Schaefer.
All right, thanks, Mr. Flater. First of all, personally, I'd like to thank you for approving the soccer co-op earlier this year. It was the first co-op, I believe, for you guys. I know it was for us. So just trying to figure out how to do co-ops is kind of interesting from time to time. I would reiterate what Jeff said, is I actually thought it went a lot smoother this year than in reality I thought it was going to, just because with co-ops with different schools, sometimes that gets to be difficult. Without you, we wouldn't have had a soccer program this year. I mean, I know he said we only had 5 beginning, 3 at the end. Even those 3 at the end make a difference. So I think we have a plan moving forward, getting kids involved with our junior soccer at the junior high level. getting those kids up and getting the numbers up. Soccer's a numbers game. The more you have, the more competitive you can be just because of reps and that kind of thing. But thank you again. It went pretty well. About the only negative, and Jeff knows this, we'll see as our numbers go up, our soccer players rode a bus route to Hannah City and then came over to practice. So hopefully as our numbers get up, we can find a dedicated way so we can get started to practice a little bit earlier. But that, I would say, is probably the only negative that I'm aware of, and that's a minor thing. It's not a major thing. So appreciate Jeff and Farmington Schools working with us. So thank you. I'll let Gerard Smith is our head coach. I'll let him say a few words.
Thank you guys. As coach of Malone Bluffs, I do appreciate you coming on board with us because, as Mr. Shaper said, we definitely wouldn't have had a team this year. And those 5 players, that, because we ended up with 30 in the end, I mean, they did definitely make a difference, and all 3 of them actually really improved by before the end of the year. So that was a good thing. Going forward in the next couple of years, well, obviously we've got 1 more year coming, hopefully, and just to go on to the travel, but we've got a lot of freshmen coming in from our school, 10 and 11 this year. Mr. Plater tells me we have a few coming over from Farmington as well, so I think our numbers will be there, which will definitely benefit us. But I think we're really smooth. I mean, I've never been involved with a co-op before, but I mean, the buses were a little bit late a couple of days, and they explained, but it didn't really sort of stop anything. So, from myself, I just really appreciate you guys coming on board with us.
Do you have any questions for us?
Brock Aksun is one of our assistant coaches, so he's along to give us
Just
support.
hiding behind.
Any questions?
No, thanks for coming over.
Thank you for making our kids feel so welcome and making it such a success. Thank you so much.
Thanks for giving our kids a place to play.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So,
Yeah, Veterans Day.
so we had Veterans Day today, and one of the most special and inspiring events that this school district hosts is the Veterans Day Assembly. And there's lots of hands and lots of people involved, but the key component of it that makes it all happen is our own Mr. Travis Wilkinson. And I'd like you to come forward just briefly, okay? Just briefly, and talk to us a little bit about the inner workings of getting this all together and making it happen.
So a couple of years ago, I reached out to the administration here and then kind of got the formal heads up, and from there just got a lot of help from the community. So most notably from Busenkin and Dwight Kelly, hearing one.
He just
Yeah. So they really helped get the ball rolling, and then Ryan Lambert and Abby Semadas and the band, the chorus, lots of hands go into it. It's not just one person, obviously. So it's gotten a little bit bigger the last couple of years, and then just the community involvement has grown in the past couple of years. So that's been really neat, and then just getting to see some of the longtime veterans, especially people like Chuck Bellman, come in. That's a really neat thing to see. So
And you did the slideshow this year, correct?
Yes.
And that was new this year, is it?
it was our second year doing that.
Okay.
So we had about 176 in it.
Yeah.
So
Any sort of connection to the school district submitted to you guys, and you put together the PowerPoint and everything, and turn the lights down so everybody could see, and had the connection of what family member or what connection they had to the school district. So that was really special. So
I guess one parting thing too is some of these come in. It's really neat seeing some of the family connections and seeing, oh, that's clearly a Benedictor. That's definitely Mr. Wick and his grandfather. So all that stuff's kind of really neat. Seeing some of that family history and local connection come in. So and thank you for Dr. Chapman and the admin team for helping put this on as well. So.
And we have a certificate just to thank you for your service to our country and to our school district. So we have one for you, and thank you. And we have Patrick Cox. He is a student facilitator at our elementary school, and he served in the Army. And then Mr. Fred Herring served in the Air Force as well. So we have certificates for those 3 district employees that are involved in the military. So thank you so much. You really are. To a little bit lesser of a degree, significantly lesser, but nonetheless appreciative to our community is you guys as school board members, the countless hours, not just on one Monday night a month that you guys come and sit here, but the countless hours that you devote getting ready for this meeting, all the time you spend with our community members, our staff members, all the subcommittees that you serve on. That goes unnoticed, and you guys don't do that for recognition in any way, but on the 15th of November, throughout the state, they recognize as School Board Member Day, and they recognize all school board members for their service to their community. So if you guys would all join me in a round of applause. Go home, put that on your refrigerator. All right, go to Mr. Slack, Oldfield, Mr. Johnson, Raleigh, Brewer, and Mr. Stanley, all right? Home on your fridges for at least till Friday, all right? At least get through the day to remind yourselves of that. And we did have 2 board members that reached the level 1 based on their continuing ed hours as far as professional development, and then their just service on the board, and that was Mr. Johnson. Congratulations. Thank you.
All right, moving on.
Yes, I agree.
Is that right?
That's what they had, yeah.
I did I like that rule.
I'll see, where's the best place to buy it?
I don't
Oh,
know.
I think you gotta make
Big
them.
City Village.
Big City, there we go.
I was gonna say Trusters, but.
Oh, no, Tresters. Or Big City Village.
All right. Consent agenda. Agenda items 1 through 5 are included on the consent agenda. I need a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
There's a request to pull number 2 out of the bills for discussion.
Yeah,
Is that
so,
correct?
Yeah, I want to talk about something.
yeah, we'll go to discussion.
Well, no, we're gonna pull number 2 and do consent agenda of items 1, 3, 4, 5.
Okay? So I need an amended,
Yes.
right? I need an amended motion and second, right?
Let's, just from now on, get that out before the motion and second, that we're pulling one, so that way we don't have to amend it every time.
Well, I think you have to amend it one way or another.
Yeah.
Yeah, you still have to do an amendment.
Okay.
Yeah, you still have to do an amendment.
Okay.
So I think the proper is I move to amend, to strike number 2 from consent agenda.
There we go.
There you go. So we should vote on that.
Yeah.
Second.
Yep. Now we'll vote on that. Good.
Yeah, roll call on that.
This is the motion to pull number 2.
Yes, correct.
Okay. Ferrari,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Marr,
Yes.
Oldfield,
Yes.
Slack,
Yes.
Stanley,
Yes.
Brewer.
Yes.
Okay. Now I need a motion and a second for 1, 3, 4, and 5. Is that correct? No, we already have
That
a
motion should exist now
Yeah.
with the amendment, so
Yeah.
we'll
So
vote
now
on
we-
the motion as amended.
Motion as amended for 1, 3, 4, and 5.
Right. That'd be the best we've done so far, maybe.
There we go. There we go.
All right, and then roll call for that.
Johnson,
Yes.
Marr,
Yes.
Oldfield,
Yes.
Slack,
Yes.
Stanley,
Yes.
Brewer,
Yes.
Ferrari,
Yes.
Okay, now I need a motion and a second for the bills. Correct or no?
I believe that's.
Yeah, we
Yes.
need a motion and a second for the bills for number 2.
So moved.
Second.
Then discussion.
Do you want to go through your list, or what do you want to do?
You'd asked about the tech support items from SHI, and those are
Yes.
the tech items that are needed in the enhancement,
Like the,
sound, the video, I don't know if I believe the PA runs through there, but the fire does not run through there, just all the technology.
in the manufacturing area.
In the manufacturing
Okay.
and the fitness,
Okay.
yes.
Yep, that was one of them. Well, the other one was the 1501, that fitness, weight room, TV and mouse.
That's all part of, there's two bills in there through SHI for all the technology.
Right. Well, the one looks, I mean, it's numerous items, but the one for just the TVs, that seems like a lot for 4 TVs. Is this something special? Is it?
Just the standard 50 to 55 inch.
Did the old weight room have TV? Or is this a new thing?
No, they're new. I didn't get the exact itemized extent of that, but I mean, it would have all the mounting, HDMI cables, all.
Okay, let's go, this 4030, this is more of a, is this, are these the construction stuff we're paying? Is that what this is?
No, this is our annual bonds
Okay.
that was within the levy. They're always due on December 1st of the year, so you pay it, you approve it at the November board meeting, so you can get the checks cut and mailed off. We work directly with Bank of Farmington. They know in advance when these.
Well, I noticed it wasn't count 60, so that's what I'm like, maybe this isn't. So this is something different, but it's a normal thing.
Correct.
Okay. And that applied to 4031 as well.
Yes.
Let's see. Oh, 60480. Do you know what that is exactly?
Yes.
Okay.
That's the transportation department's going to be reimbursing us. It was when they went on the when they went on the senior trip last year. They're trying to navigate the tolls. They tried to go back and pay the tolls online. Apparently they missed one. It just comes to us. We'll get reimbursed from the transportation department.
From the bus company.
From the bus
From
company.
the bus company.
The bus company?
We'll pay that, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Because it was their error or the state's error, but they're gonna go to court over it, so, you know. So
No,
I talked to Wes today, and they will pay for
The
it.
district pays the upfront, the actual toll within part of the field trip, but
Yeah.
the additional.
And we bought 25 more Chromebooks. Was this planned?
Yeah, yes, they're in use quite often at the upper elementary levels, and just to alleviate some of the desired use of them, we just bought another car.
Okay, but this was not in the high school. This is the
That's
lower
correct.
level.
That's correct. It was at the upper elementary, right?
Yep, 4th and 5th grade.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. That's fine. Oh, I guess, what do you do with the Toradol? 18 points of Toradol. That is a lot of Toradol. But maybe there's an application, I don't know.
I apologize for not
No,
knowing
that's
what
all right.
Toron is, but,
It's tree killer. They use it on any, well, every house.
No, it isn't actually. It is, you apply it to like a stump you cut off,
Yeah.
is what Toradol RT.
Yeah. So all farmers know what it is.
If you cut down a tree, you put one of those stumps in your.
That's why 18 quart, like a quart gets you a long way.
That's
okay.
Not if you ask Uncle Vern. He opens the ball and he squirts it.
I wonder if it's even typed maybe or something.
That's all right.
'Cause it's
I
not
know that,
expensive.
is it Mr. Hickabotham that is the?
Yeah.
Okay, and he works with our maintenance department to give the advice on what we need to be doing, and we just.
Did we talk at the last building and grounds meeting about cleaning up that fence line, right? Or
Yeah.
two meetings ago.
Yeah.
We talked about cleaning up that fence line, so I wondered if maybe the order for that. He was talking possibly.
Yeah, cutting the trees down and then you got the portal on.
Maybe. That's the only thing that comes to mind for me, but.
Well, I would be curious if that is in typo, if that is, I mean, I don't think in my life I've used 18 quarts of Toradol. I've used quite a bit of it sometimes. So I would just be curious if sometime down the road we could figure out what that was more or less.
Okay.
That's all I've got.
What are the TVs in the fitness area used for? Is to watch while you're working out, or?
Well, a lot of they're planning on having like range of motion activities like yoga and things like that. rather than have those instructed on site, you do a video feed through like a third-party server.
So there's nothing special about those TVs, though?
Well, I think they're all networked together. This is just,
That would make sense, that would make sense.
and they're all, there's a central control hub there with a touch screen that they can use for that. So that could be part of that, I'm guessing. And that's just for my son who's on tech team, so that could be part of that. But anything else?
That was the end of my inquiries.
I have a question on just not being here long enough to know the debt services, as you said, paying the bonds like that.
That's correct. So you roll your money out of your investments, your savings and such, and then you roll it in to the checking account. Because the money comes in through the taxes, and then it sits in a higher yielding
But
account.
the negative 32,000 won't be there very long.
Right, it'll be rectified next month. So you just transfer it into that account to make your payment on the December 1st.
Okay. I think we're ready for a roll call.
Marr,
No.
Oldfield,
Yes.
Slack,
Yes.
Stanley,
No.
Brewer,
Yes.
Frawley,
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes. All right, request for public hearing. If anyone would like to address the board, they can step up to the podium. And we have no one. So, presentation. Annette Giannini, committee distributions, Mr. Ballas.
All right, I'll bring the whole crew up here with me. As you guys know, Annette Giannini left $1 million to our district a few years ago. And because of that, with some specifications, that interest, we can't ever touch that money, but the interest from that, we can spend each year through the use of the committee as teachers request things for the classroom or for the school itself. So within those things. This year, we were able to fund 13 projects and just under $11,000. So with us here, I have most of the recipients. We had 2 that could not make it tonight, but we have most of the recipients, and they're going to kind of give a thank you to the family and kind of let you know what they're going to spend those things on in our classroom. So I'll let them take it away.
Certainly. Thank you to all who are involved. I was very excited to be a recipient on 2 different grants. One, for my classroom, I requested flexible seating options, which should help improve our struggling students with their movement in the classroom. And also, I was part of the AR grant. We received $250 to help provide incentives and materials for students with the AR program at the junior high.
So I requested a new kitchen set for my classroom. I don't know if you know this, but 3 to 5-year-olds are really hard on things. So I requested a 4-piece kitchen set to update the broken one I had. So I'm really excited about it because now I can really transform my dramatic play center into things like a space station, a train station, and bakery, and all kinds of different things, which is really important for early childhood because we're all about play-based learning, right? I also wanted to note that when Mr. Ballas popped in to let me know that I had gotten the grant, I looked at my class and I was like, friends, we're getting a new kitchen. And they all jumped up and said, yes! I wish I could have recorded it because it was super cute. It was adorable. I loved it.
Her facilitators also did that.
Yeah.
Just so you know. I'm not joking. So.
The kitchen set I have is well loved. It's 1 piece. It's very small. So having this 4-piece, it's going to really allow us to embrace the social skills and the critical thinking skills that go along with pretending to be other people in the community, workers and stuff like that. I also have a little write-up here from Mrs. Fisher and Mrs. Hanlon. They weren't able to come tonight, but they had requested flexible seating for their classroom. They were awarded $250 to spend on new seating options, and they've compiled a list of 4 to 5 different seating options, and they are doing some additional research to find some other different options. And they are just really thankful for those funds to be able to increase their flexible seating in the room. My daughter had both of them in 3rd grade, and they had started flexible seating then, and I think it's really improved and been really good for their classroom, so.
I teach first grade, and last year I started really trying to get into the next generation science standards. So I found some curriculum and started using it, and it's a lot of really neat hands-on activities, but I was missing a lot of the items. So I was struggling to borrow it from other school, the other schools even in our district. So this year I put together a list of things that I can use, and I actually made you a handout because it's kind of a strange, random assortment of things. We do a sound wave unit and a light wave unit, so I needed prisms and I needed some different science experiments for that. We have a life science unit, so I needed some animal things there. I got some STEM equipment so that we can do some of the building things and books, and I actually couldn't remember. I asked Toby for my sheet back because I couldn't even remember what I had asked for. We also do a Christmas around the world. It's not really Christmas, it's holidays around the world, and we all do it in first grade, so I got some materials for that so that students can see different cultures, different geography areas, and things like that. So it'll be a big collection to use. And it should be something I can share with the whole first grade team, so we should all get to use it.
This year, kindergarten, we have really been trying to incorporate, obviously with the kids' assessment, like more play-based activities that are still, really impactful to the students. And so what we requested this year was, we requested like some sensory bins with some filling for that, so that, they can, instead of always just having to write everything, they can search for letters or numbers or count things or use it for, I forgot the word, fine motor skills, thank you. For fine motor skills like beads, or stringing beads or something like that. And then, and those can be kind of covered up and put away when we don't need them. And then we also requested a whole bunch of STEM boxes that have like buildings, so like one where they like have to build a playground, one where they can build like cities, like the actual like skyscrapers of that, but they figure out how the pieces go together, and then they can use all of the science technology or terms that go with our like forces and motions, and with different STEM activities too. So there's 3 or 4 of those, and then the mousetrap game, we got a couple of those, so when we do forces and motions, we can talk about like Rube Goldberg and all of those kinds of how they all work together. And then we also requested, new kitchen foods that they can cut apart, like with Velcro, to teach like basic fractions and halves and wholes. And then also new dishes for the kitchens, for the classrooms. And I already had some of those from last year, so we just got them for the other classes. And then we also requested, we're super excited about sharing a set of Bee-Bots, which is, it's got a hub, a charging hub, and it's got 6 different bees in it. They're about this big, and it's all about coding for like young children, so like ages like 4 to 7, I think is what it's good for. So it's got different buttons on it, so, and then mats that you can put things under. So like if you give them a card and you can put like 5 plus 2 on there, and they can find where the 7 is, and then they can code the bee to go to that spot on the mat, it teaches multiple different skills. And so we're going to use that hub, and we're going to share it between our grade levels. It's like $600 for one of those, so, but it's really exciting. So I think that was everything. Yeah.
And we're all sharing that.
We're super
appreciate
excited,
all of it.
yes. Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm Julie Springer, and Andy Tracy's here with me. We're representing the 7th grade team tonight because we received 2 grants, and we want to say thanks for those. The first grant is incentives for testing for our students, because even though we know the importance of MAP testing and IAR, the students have difficulty seeing that. So we give them more quick incentives where they get something at the end of the day, and we give them certain requirements, and then they'll achieve that goal. And they actually have shown to try harder and do a little better with the incentives, so we were happy to get some money to help us with that. The second incentive the second reward was for some junior high well, we couldn't quite afford playground equipment, so we went with some playground games that they could get. And we're going to be ordering some bags type of games, ladders, different activities that they can learn to play and have more to do at their small amount of recess time, but gives them more structured things to do. Maybe cut down on a little bit of the discipline problems we have when they're out there playing and not really having any kind of activities. And we hope to maybe build up a way that we can even make sure that teach them how to play some of those games if they don't know and things like that. So we're looking forward to getting those things started sometime this year.
And currently, they really don't have much that they can do when they go out at recess time. So this is will be a big benefit for them. I think they're very excited.
Hi, I'm Jody Rathman. I have wellness PE this semester. Wellness is lifelong activities, and I've been trying to teach them this semester. And one of the things that I asked for from Mr. Vallis and the committee was for archery. And so I asked for like $3,500 for a starter kit, which will get us going. And plus pay for some of we have to get certified. Mr. Otto is already certified, and he already teaches archery like in a club. So we get archery into the curriculum. Our next step is try to get it as a club, because out there right now is lots of scholarships to colleges and lots of money for the kids. And archery is actually an Olympic sport. So you never know, we might have our next, archery old girl from Farmington, Illinois. So I appreciate all the money for our archery starter set. Because it's not just for me, it's also for the junior high. Okay, it's for both of us really, for PE wellness. Okay, thank you very much.
So Kristen Locke couldn't be here, but Ms. Reba has hers, and I have Mrs. Nolan's as well. So go ahead.
Okay. So Mrs. Locke is a new fifth grade teacher in the elementary and unable to be here tonight. The money received from the supply fund is going towards a service project for all fifth grade students at Farmington Central Elementary. The service project is called Kid Knits. Kid Knits is a nonprofit organization that was created by a 9-year-old girl, Ellie, from Dunlap, Illinois. While on a church mission trip to Rwanda, Ellie noticed that the most common form of work for a woman was making a ball of yarn. It took 1 day's worth of work to make one ball of yarn. And if the women can sell the yarn, they can provide clean water, food, and shelter for their families. Therefore, Ellie decided that she wanted to help these women and came up with the idea of Kid Knits. Kid Knits buys the yarn from women in Rwanda, Chile, and India, and in return, students across the nation get to learn how to knit a hat out of it. The money received from the supply fund is going towards Kid Knits in the form of a donation to purchase knitting loom kits and yarn for each student in the fifth grade. Kid Knits allows students to not only learn how to knit and complete their own winter hat, they also have a chance to understand the realities of global poverty while reflecting on the question of who is their neighbor and how are they empowered to help change the world. Before the students learn to knit, they receive a picture and information of the specific woman and families they are helping with their ball of yarn. When finished, the students are encouraged to donate their hats or to keep it and show off their support for Kid Knits. Kid Knits empowers students to change a life around the world. Mrs. Locke greatly supports your generosity and support for this project. I have photos that maybe you can forward to them if they want to see.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I can't get them to show up on my phone right now, so.
Brandy Nolan, our new junior high counselor, couldn't be here, but she received some items that were basically some coloring items, some things for kids to fidget with, some flexible seating, but more or less things when she has kids coming in with some issues to kind of get them talking to her. So starting a new program down there as the first junior high counselor in a while, she needed some items to get going, and she wanted to say thank you to everybody here. So thank you guys.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming. I can give a brief update. Solar array update.
Well, I was out there again today with Dan Griffin, with the other gentleman, and we're still, what looked good on paper isn't so good when they got into the action of things. He had some sort of mower apparatus on the front of a skidster out there last Wednesday or Thursday and trying to get the ravine cleared out and they can't use that. So now they want to switch some of the FFA plot over to the east portion that's already connected. Right now it's kind of chunked out with the cross-country path.
Right here.
And also within all that, I'm also working with our engineer because they may be buying some of our topsoil for a bridge project, I believe in the Trivoli area. So that would start to level that ground out so we can push the solar array further to the east. So we are still working on a rectangle that we are willing to compromise with that meets the specs of theirs. So there's 3 factors that have to stay intact, that the FFA plot stays at the same acreage. And if they end up mowing some down, they offer, I mean, they're gonna pay 3 times whatever the wages. We already worked that part of it out, but it's the ongoing impact that it has on it. Maintaining the cross-country path, we gotta be able to keep our cross-country. Those were the 2 initials of like non-negotiables we had to begin with. And then the least impact on the marching band practice, football, the practice fields. We were out there again today.
It's just a terrain geography thing? Or
Correct. It was supposed to go in that, if you recall, we had a big deal getting the final, like, on Google Earth, like, yes, this is what we agreed to before you guys. Well, when they get out there to start drilling the piles and doing the soil samples and survey, they can't put the pins down in that ravine area. So that moves the rectangle, because it has to be a rectangle, further to the south. Well, as you start to push it further to the south, then you start feeding upon that eastern or the western portion of the FFA plot. So then when you push it to the west, then you get into the marching band and the football practice.
It seems like a pretty big mess.
Well, we had talked about it, building and grounds meeting about but about getting rid of that dirt pile.
I asked that long ago. Yeah, that thing's gonna be, does it look like, I mean, if that's a valuable commodity especially, and it could be.
Yeah.
Make it go.
Yeah.
So
That's kind of what we're at.
anyway, so the surveyor was out Sunday with the new restrictions, and then he had to go back to Texas today, and so Dan came, he had a death in the family, so he's coming back. So we're still working to get it all fixed, nudged in.
So this thing's not gonna have it this way?
Oh, it is. They want the array up and rolling by March. We just got to, I mean, they're dropping off material this week.
Okay.
Guess we'll get it figured out.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be cold out there working on it, so I guess it'll be all right. I'll be
My
back.
understanding was they put the roof mounts on the 1 or 2. but I
Yes,
don't know
they
what
did. They did.
Did they?
They were up there when it was cold. But
Like I said,
I think
I'm good.
Did it go live like in January or February or something? It was in the middle of winter.
I
that it
just
went live.
remember the wind catching that one panel with that one guy on it, and
Yeah.
Munger's class thought
He was
we were
going.
coming through.
Oh, he was coming through the
Yeah.
road? Yeah, Steve references that quite often.
Yeah, he does. He really enjoyed it.
Hey, I got a quick question, going back to the G&E fund. How was that, we got $1 million and use the interest off of it?
Yeah, so she donated $1 million to our district. We can only spend the interest, we can't touch the money, and we get to spend it every year. So the process kind of is, they fill out a Google form with what they want. I organize them all, and then we have a committee of 3 teachers, 1 from each building, that she selects those. And we bring them in. 3 staff members, yeah, sometimes it's facilitators or whatever. And then we select 3 parents that the administration kind of selects, and 1 that represent each building. Now, lots of times they have kids in multiple buildings, and those 6, I'm in the room, but I really only try to break a tie or whatever if we had to, and it's never come to that. And they select the projects that they want to fund based upon how much money is in there.
How much money was it, 11,000?
We gave away just under 11,000 this year.
What are we doing for investment on it? Is it just,
It-
1%?
It has to be, invested in something that, my understanding is it has to be invested in something that cannot lose.
We'll look into it, get back.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I don't know the specifics on it.
Yeah,
That question actually came up when we were talking about it, so.
CD in town, I would say.
Yeah.
But they don't,
There were some pretty, there were pretty tight restrictions on where it could go. And I don't remember what they were, but.
because it was, as I was coming, you and I were coming into our positions, it was kind of already set. So let's look into it a little bit further and we'll get back to you. They do not have to send all of the earnings each year. So
we
that's for the
actually-
committee. Like last year you rolled over.
So when this started, there was actually a 6-month span before that didn't, that we didn't have a committee for because it goes every year, so it started in the middle. So they're actually in the fund this year, in interest, there was like 15,000. The committee chose to only spend 11,000 of it, so. Next.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. Should be,
Action items. Yes. Resolution of tentative 2019 tax levy. Levy process is conjecture based upon the estimated increase or decrease of the local, or the total, equalized assessed value of property in the district. However, we base these projections on the best available information before preparing the tentative levy. Need a motion and a second to approve resolution 111119 for the tentative 2019 tax levy.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
do we know Peoria County, I mean, ever messing with their assessment? Do we have any idea that came in at?
Thumbing through my notes because of that. But that came in slightly higher, like 0.63.
And Fulton County, they stay the same, or I don't know what they do, I don't know.
They were up slightly less than Peoria County.
And then the levy itself, did you change it, or is it the same as it was, or?
Right about where we were last year. Now, remember we were spending down last year on our Social Security and IMRF contributions because we had a little bit of a surplus in that per our auditors. But we haven't got the auditor's report back yet to know. So I held it less in it than what we need, but it's slightly more than what it was last year. So depending on how that auditor's report comes, it may go down a little bit. So it would be at the high point. So I would anticipate it would be consistent with what it was last year.
Anything else? Roll call, please.
Oldfield,
Yes.
Slack,
Yes.
Stanley,
Yes.
Brewer,
Yes.
Farrelly,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Marr,
Yes.
All right, number 2, Farmington Central High School course catalog. Board has been provided a course catalog for the 2021 school year. Timelines for adoption is such that students can begin filling out the course requests in the coming months so that final course offerings can be completed during the winter. While schedules are not finalized until summer, guidance counselor administration need ample time to create the schedule and allocate necessary resources for the upcoming year. Need a motion of the second to approve the 2020-2021 Farmington Central High School course catalog as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Looks good. A couple things I did was curious about. This Metals 2 class won't really exist this year, will it? Because it's prerequisite is Metals 1, so it would be at the second semester. Will it be there?
Yes, I guess the original idea for Metals 1 and 2 is they were a semester course. So technically, what we could do, a lot of this depends on if the who's there, once kids select classes, is we would have a Metals 1 class, followed by a Metals 2 the following semester.
Okay. And this is what the addition to building is for, is this, correct?
Yes.
Yep. Okay, go on. I'm not, this, because this looks like, I mean, this is the right thing. We're going in, when we start, and lead them up to those machines, and that's, you know, and this is Mr. Hall.
That would be ideal.
That would be ideal. Oh, okay, what then?
Well, it's up to him, as long as he,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Part-time, really.
No,
So-
that's what comes along.
So ideally, he would continue
Yeah.
to do that, but I don't wanna pin him into a
No, that's
corner
fine.
at all.
That's kind of where I'm going with this.
Yeah, so
Because,
that's why.
then if we, go ahead and get some, Kim, sorry.
No, I
Oh,
should
okay,
say no.
then, well, that looks good though, I like where that's going. And then the other thing was, there is an ag construction one. You had talked in a curriculum meeting about, maybe a class where they built a shed and went through the whole design, build, marketing. Is that gonna come out of this, or is this gonna be somewhere else?
The other thing, if you'll notice in our math class, is the geometry construction
I saw that.
dual credit. I think the tentative idea right now is that could be something that our construction, the geometry construction
okay.
class could do. And of course, once the approval occurs, then details. But originally, right now, the kids would do is take the geometry class, learn about the angles and the proper concepts, and then go and complete projects. And obviously, there would be some baseline of proper cuts and terms that would have to occur. But then, of course, once those were mastered, they would practice building sheds that, of course, could be sold to home.
I guess then, that's great. And the other thing I had was that the math class that tied into the metals class, so you got 2 instructors, 1 class a day?
It's 2 class periods.
2 periods a day, so that's 2 credits. So that's what I was, so you'll have a period with 1 instructor, a period with the other instructor.
Yes.
Yes. I like it. What we need to. But on that note, though, this ag class would have a lot of potential, but I think, if to, get into hand tools, power tools, blueprints, surveying, construction, carpentry, plumbing, electricity, block laying, drywall, that would be awesome, but that's gonna take somebody with a skill set we might not have in the building right now. And I would love to see that go.
We're
somewhere.
working on that.
I would love to see that go.
We're
somewhere.
working on it.
Good, I love that, that's
We
great.
used to survey the fleet.
We used to survey and build a little block building, we did all kinds of stuff. General electricity is just pretty handy. Yeah.
The regional office education is very understanding of the teacher shortages. What you have to do to get alternative.
Well, Mr. Holm is a great fit for what he's doing. If
Yeah.
you can keep him doing his thing and find somebody like this to jump into that would be fantastic. So, it's really good, I like it.
Roll call, please.
Slack?
Yes.
Stanley?
Yes.
Brewer? Ferrari? Yes. Johnson?
Yes.
Mar?
Yes.
Oldfield?
Yes.
Selection of delegate to the school board convention. I need a motion and a second to go through. Well, I guess
We need to, I nominate Kelly Brewer for that position.
And I will go right back and nominate you. That's like you just-
I've already done it.
I've already done it.
I think we talked about this last time. I don't mind doing it. That's fine. I read through all the stuff and did a lot of highlighting, things that we'll talk about in committee later. But that's fine. I mean, there's just the 3 of us going. I believe maybe Mr. Slack still, maybe, still a game time soon.
So are you nominating yourself?
Well, I'm not nominating myself, but I'm saying that I would be willing to do it if someone.
I will nominate Chad Johnson.
There you go. Thank you.
Okay. So,
Thanks for nothing. but
so we
Well,
have.
you know what, I think you're only.
So technically, we have 3 nominees.
Huh? No, I pulled mine in.
Yeah, they have to.
You
Well, you
rescind,
can't-
I rescind mine. Kelly can rescind hers, right?
Right.
Yours was never received a second though, so. You didn't die there with that. Die.
Yeah, you're right.
And
And I'm
hers did
accepting,
not receive.
and I
the
guess I'm
second.
accepting it now.
Well, I didn't stick that in you, I assumed you were okay with eating it.
All right. So we had a nomination for Kelly Brewer that died for lack of a second. A nomination for BJ Oldfield that died for lack of a second. And nomination for Chad Johnson.
Second.
That was seconded. And now, we can have voice vote.
Motion and second, wait for, I got motion, second, and we need a voice vote to approve Chad Johnson and as IASB Extension Delegate for 2019. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. He's being nice to you. He's being nice to you. Perfect. All right.
You guys are for Renee trying to keep all the minutes for this.
Renee's gonna kill us.
Not us, it's down there.
All right. Yeah, and like I say, I'll report out on all that stuff that I went through for the delegates, some of it here in a little bit. Financial authorization, Christy Garlish is to be added to all financial accounts that Farmington Central Unit School District 265 hold. This measure is to ensure that there is a second staff member, bookkeeper, that is on all of our accounts. I need a motion and a second to approve Christy Garlish to all financial accounts that Farmington Central Unit School District 265 holds.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Alex? Yeah, the trouble with the other.
Who's first?
Alex.
Who's second?
Me.
Okay. Any discussion there?
It's all double sign checks, is that?
Yeah. Good practice. Okay. Roll call, please.
Stanley?
Yes.
Brewer?
Yes.
Ferrari?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Marr?
Yes.
Winfield?
Yes.
Slack?
Yes.
Spoon River Community College dual credit. Spoon River Community College has asked if we formally acknowledge them as a dual credit provider. There are no terms or conditions other than what we are accustomed to having with all three community colleges that we work with. Motion and second to approve the dual credit course offering with Spoon River Community College.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Why wasn't that in place prior? I thought that was kind of odd.
Yeah, they just asked to have it renewed.
Oh,
It wasn't.
Oh, it was, there was.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah,
They
they-
always had it.
Oh.
And I wasn't certain why. Our policy allows students to, you know, use a variety with that. I didn't know why they needed it. It looked consistent with.
It's supposed to be protocol.
Okay. I just, kind of the way I read it, there wasn't one. I thought, what? Oh, okay.
They-
Good.
When my first term, there was something about it that there was a little bit more desirability to go to Knox as opposed to Spoon for some of the kids. Whether course selection, I don't remember, it's been years ago.
Something happened with the English class one year that
Yeah.
kind of, it fell apart right at.
So even though Spoon River's pretty close, that they went to Knox for some
That
stuff.
wouldn't be close for like Kelly though. would it?
No.
Yeah. Yeah. But,
We're forced to have three community.
yeah, that's what I was
Yeah.
going was, is it worth it, we can go to 3 different ones.
Yeah. Okay, roll call, please.
Brewer? Yes. Ferrari?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Marr?
Yes.
Winfield?
Yes.
Slack?
Yes.
Stanley?
Yes.
Risk management plan. District maintains a risk management plan which is designed to reduce tort exposure. With the assistance of the district's attorney firm, we have been able to do a good job, or do a job description, analysis, and establish a portion of our work that reduces the district's risk liability. Geez, I'm having a rough time tonight, sorry guys. The superintendent, principals, assistant principal, and director of maintenance have been a part of the plan. We are adding the school nurse and director of technology to the plan. This is a draft, and technically there is no action to be taken, but next month it will require action. Any discussion on that? Any questions?
Yeah, give me a mile high view of what it's gonna look like. If you have any idea what it looks like, or not I mean, if it's.
Yeah, it's just adding like, some of the work that those two positions do, like as far as our firewall and the maintenance of all the updates and such from the technology, reduces our exposure to like one of those cyber hijacking of of your data and such, so a portion of that salary can be transferred over.
Okay.
And then with the district nurses, obligations as far as managing students' medications and things like that.
Okay.
It has to go through the formal process, and we use the attorney firm to help guide that. The original timeline, I was hoping to get this to you in October, and then so you guys could have a look at it and then adopt it this month. It just took a little longer, the attorney firm and things like that, so that's why I had it in there for this month for action on it. I just put a hold on it there, so you'll get it next month for action.
Surplus items, as the activities department continue their reorganizing facilities, there are some items that are no longer needed that potentially could have some value. The denoted items are old lockers, uniforms, and a cooler. Motion and second to declare the presented items as surplus to the district and dispose of them.
So moved.
Discussion. Seeing none, roll call.
Farrelly?
Yes.
Brewer?
Yes.
Stanley?
Yes.
Slack?
Yes.
Oldfield?
Yes.
Marr?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes. Code of Ethics, number 11. I will model continuous learning and work to ensure good governance by taking advantage of board member development opportunities, such as those sponsored by my state and national school board associations, and encourage my fellow board members to do the same. So with that in mind, you're all welcome to come up to Chicago in a couple weeks. Actually, a week from Friday.
Pretty close, yeah.
It's quick. Oh, geez, it is. It is a week from Friday. I need that easy. I need to come and watch my dogs. Committee reports, curriculum. You guys have a meeting coming up on Thursday. You've not met since the last board meeting, correct? Okay. So I'm assuming there's nothing there. Delegate. All right. I have a little bit of it. Well, I have a lot of it, actually. So the delegate assembly, Ron used to get really, really excited about that. I hope everybody had a chance to at least look through some of the committee reports and the resolutions. I'm going to pass this out. This is a checklist of what is in the resolution report and what they'll be. It's basically what they're going to be voting on at the meeting. Did anybody have a chance to look at it? And if you did, do you have any thoughts to any of the?
I did, of course.
Really?
You're shocked. I know, you're surprised, aren't you?
Wow.
Yeah. I agree with them and their philosophy on all but two things.
Okay.
And we touched on this a month ago, we talked. They want to change the signs, in all the school zones, to read a little differently than they do now.
Number 6, right?
Number 6, the
Yeah.
school safety one. Although that's good in theory, the one thing they hate is unfunded mandates. And what this would do would push an unfunded mandate on every little municipality in this entire state to change all those school signs, is what that would do. And it affects nothing.
Yeah,
And people don't stop for the stop sign on the dang school buses now, so what would changing that sign do?
I think what they were,
It's a fairly minor change.
it really was, it was, it says reduce speed limits to 20 miles per hour or less, remove the signage, remove the wording as far as during school hours was one of them. And well, where we live, that's not even practical really. To have this be 20 miles an hour
The rest of the time.
on Sundays doesn't really make a whole lot of sense.
So that was one I disagree with them on. The other one was the school board election. They're worried about some lame duck school board members in a few school districts. Why don't they change their election? That's easier than us changing the whole rest of the state.
Yeah, those were ones that I actually highlighted that I didn't see a whole lot of sense in either. Yeah, I think they were, well, it was Peoria District 150 is who.
Was one of them.
Was one of them. They seat their board, I think, and they have a 5-year term.
Yeah, it's like a 6-month span
They
between
have a
election and seating the members.
Really?
Yeah, they have a 5-year term, and then they seat their board members July 1st, I think. So,
Yeah.
it's totally different. And I think that's something that they can amend
So
themselves.
certainly they could.
Yeah.
Other than that, it looked okay.
Okay. The ones that I had questions on is student safety, because basically I go and I'm your delegate. I vote the way our board sees fit. So it's the first one in that packet. If you've got your computers, or if you've got, I didn't print out.
I have a problem with my one.
Took enough.
That's my opinion. That's partisan. It should be partisan.
So that's basically what this comes out of Mercer County, so it's Aledo, the old Aledo School District, if you don't know what that was. And basically they're saying that it's about concealed carry and allowing, basically this is just allowing each school district the ability to make their own rules. And they cite their rationale was basically the fact that they have and I didn't realize their school district was this big, 378 square miles. They're the 5th largest school district, and they're talking about response times for some of their elementary schools. So the possibility of at least having the option. And again, I don't know that that's my feeling is, I don't think it's our job to dictate what other school districts do.
They had the same discussion last year.
They did. I think there were 3 different ones.
Yeah, there was 3 different options they did last year. And boy, I'll tell you, Ron got real passionate into this one. And he wanted to make sure they were all 7 of us were educated about this topic, understood how he was going to vote, and he said it came down to, I want to say, like 150 votes from one way or the other, which with a group of about 600 delegates in there, yeah, that's fairly close. But so they're bringing it back up. It didn't pass last year, so they want to do something different.
Does anyone have any strong feelings on where to go on that one?
I think simply, I like that the school district should have the right to choose. I don't think every school district is the same situation.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even a discussion that we can have right now, but.
No, right.
But, yeah, okay. All right. The other one that I had a question on, actually, it's not even, I don't, or I don't think it's a question. School safety program, grant program is number 3. Basically trying to get grant, it's basically trying to get grant money for poorer schools to have a resource officer. And it's at ultimately it's at a cost to taxpayers or something. But the poor districts who cannot afford a resource officer or don't have a local police force, they can put someone in. So I just wanted to point that out. And background checks for substitute teachers, I thought number 5 was a good one. It's a resolution basically saying that they would like to have the Regional Office of Education be able to do background checks for substitute teachers. Because substitute teachers, if they register in each district, then they have to pay for their own background check for each district in a lot of cases. Now, do we pay that fee, or do they have to pay that themselves? Okay. So that's basically what it's saying, is that they could have one fee, and then the school district just submits to the Regional Office of Education. Yeah, it absolutely makes sense. Background checks and background checks. So as long as it's done within a reasonable amount of time, and I'm sure there's stipulations on that. But, and that was about it. Those were kind of the highlights on that. So, okay. Anybody have any questions on that list that I just handed out? All right, moving on. Labor management.
so I think that too. That's all I was getting at, I'm sorry.
It was probably the fastest meeting we've ever had. It's very quick, very easy.
All right. Building and grounds.
They will not be saying.
No.
We won't say that, not one little bit.
I figured that, but.
Mrs. Reba took
2.5 hours?
I'm just kidding, Mrs. Reba did.
7:32 hours.
2 hours, I think 2 hours.
We talked about, wanting to put a playground right next to the future playground. PTO's raising money for it, they're trying to push for it. We're gonna have some money left over in our enhancement project, so we're looking to maybe help fund that.
Like a 50-50 thing, or?
Right now, they've got 18,000
Not 50/50.
Equipment options are around 7,000 for the playgrounds. And then,
We're gonna let them come up with the money for the surface, right?
We're still looking to surface
thought,
some more.
there was a thought that surface as
That's
a
fine.
92,000.
Thought.
More than the equipment.
Well, you gotta explore things, I mean, it's good to know that.
It's a really good.
It's a really good thought. That's
Safety.
about,
Plus anything to add.
yeah,
That's
that's
right.
what it is.
It's a really good safety.
Oh, yeah, there,
Safety.
which is reasonable.
So, Chad and I are both going up, and hopefully Alex will go with us, going up to Chicago, and at the convention, they have a downstairs, which is probably 3 times the size of the gymnasium at least, and they'll have different options that we can investigate there and maybe bring back with us and see if there's different options besides putting down the very safe bark that they use. It's actually safety wood, though my daughter has got a splinter or two. Doug has never been able to rub his hands together with the material in his hands and get a splinter, but my daughter has gotten it, so. But it's, yeah, in this playground that they're proposing, it would be nice, would allow the kindergarten and first grade to go out very quickly and
K1,
easily.
2.
Yeah, K1, 2, go out very easily out the west door.
What do they have to do now? I mean, is it?
They gotta go down and around, either up and around or down and around to the playground out on the south side of the building.
And is that utilized by somebody else also? I mean,
Oh, yeah.
No, it's-
the rest is
It's,
reading under.
Right, well, not only the convenience of being at the end of the hallway, but then also to allow more flexibility for teachers in their scheduling of when they do take their classes out. Once the lunch hour starts at 10:45 until 1 o'clock, we're booked in that block, or on that big playground. Kate's shaking her head, she remembers, and it leaves very little time before that lunch hour begins and after that lunch hour begins for classes to have that flexibility to get out and use it, get some fresh air, and get some movement, especially in our lower elementaries. Developmentally is necessary.
Oh, yeah, no, I understand that. So you're talking about using some leftover money from this bond stuff, is that what, well, that might be a good use.
I think so.
I mean,
It's an enhancement.
Yeah, they spent 92,000 for a surface, but, you know,
Well, no.
baby steps.
Yeah, no. They've done a lot of.
I'm impressed to raise $18,000.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
It does.
That's pretty great.
And they've got a few different designs, which I was impressed with how they're trying to get a few different designs on, making sure we can utilize the area as much as possible.
What else we talk about? Building and grounds?
We talked about a baseball storage shed, bids are still coming back on that.
Cement work.
Pads for the builder, got bids on that, got on Foos, he was the lowest bid.
And that's the pad for the
For the
band.
trailer and the baseball batting cage.
Okay. So is that batting cage, is that going to come to fruition? Is this something the parents are talking
Yep.
about?
Yeah.
That's going to make it done.
Community has come together and wanted that pretty bad, and they're going to do the
putting up the posts.
Yeah.
And they have the netting, and we're doing the concrete and the surfacing on this. That's pretty much it.
About it?
Took delivery of the skidster and the sweeper. I seen a picture of those in the snow, so.
How do you? Did it get operated?
Yeah, today we took delivery of it, yeah.
Yeah, it was used today. How did it do? Sean was tickled pink.
I bet he was warm and dry and.
Yeah.
Nice. I seen a path went right down the center of the parking lot, looked pretty. It got right down to the blacktop, and once that sun hits that blacktop tomorrow, it'll cook it all.
We'll see, it's gonna be pretty cool.
I think it'll still come on. As long as you get down that blacktop, it'll come on.
We did talk about that dirt mound out there, so, topsoil. That topsoil's been there for 15 plus years because it was from this building site. The school board at that time did a good job of making sure that was that part of the trail out there was rated for heavy equipment. So they could dump it back there, which saves a lot in the construction phase because you're not having to truck the dirt elsewhere. But that being said, it's been sitting there and now we have a lot of space out there that we can be using for other things. Whether it's, we talked about possibly the ag plot, possibly maybe bringing back the FFA livestock show at some point. So that's some preliminary discussions about those kind of things. So.
Talks about the outdoor classroom.
Oh, yeah.
I'd like to get other board members' thoughts on that. Just, it sounds like, really Zach talked, it costs pretty thin just to get a drawing of it.
The consensus of the committee was we were skittish about inquiring on architectural drawings for anything regarding the back of the auditorium to the outdoor classroom at this time until we're firm on what the numbers look like. But things like the shed for the baseball and the playground was pretty straightforward and enhancements that need to be taken care of and didn't require any architectural drawings or anything like that. The next steps, such as the outdoor classroom and then the back of the auditorium redesign and things like that, would take architectural drawings, and we just weren't quite ready to look to pay for those drawings yet until we really thought that we might be allocating that money for it.
How much money are you talking about having to spread around here before you all set?
Bet you they're about $500,000.
You don't want to time a bunch of architects' drawings, you don't need to.
Yeah, so at that point, we just kind of need to figure out, okay, if we know that we're going to go forward with those two, theater, reorganization back there at that area, and the classroom, then we're going to have to get the architect's drawings on those, and we're going to have to fight forward at that point. So we have to get it done, but we just need to make sure what we're doing first.
Yeah, a plan.
I don't want to have the drawings done and then say, you know what, we really don't do that. I want to make sure what we're doing before we make that next step.
But the baseball storage shed is just a small storage shed.
It's gonna be something like 24 by 24, 20 by 20.
Yeah.
Not a brick block building.
No.
Towards, like where that little thing's at now, way in the back.
Way out would be between the
Two diamonds.
yes, between the two diamonds, fit in the two diamonds. Doors to be able to access both of the.
And with that little shed up front disappear to them? Is it there? I guess it's there, right?
It's there for now.
Okay. What is that? Is that just a little storage shed?
I don't know what it is.
Well, okay.
I'm uncertain what its purpose will be after this shed comes in. I'm not ready to.
It doesn't look right.
No, sure doesn't. So it could be coming to you as a surplus item in the near future.
Well, seating, what are we gonna seat?
I think just some rough areas.
Yeah. Oh, just patch it.
Yeah. Doug's just trying to get a.
And he's gonna take some of that dirt that we were talking about, because he didn't wanna sell everything, because he's gonna take some of it and fill in around places too.
Well, the dirt pile's kind of nice, so we're not gonna let there's a bunch of crap pile there too that shouldn't have been, because it was just there, you know, so we did get that cleaned up too.
Okay.
Policy?
I'm guessing next month.
Okay. Transportation, you guys got anything?
We haven't met. Mr. Doss, is there one thing?
I'm next, if this is the last one.
Well, no, this isn't, but
We'll get to it.
We'll get to it.
Positive Community Committee meeting, October 28th.
Okay,
Ms.
basically,
Raleigh.
I wasn't there, but I've got the minutes, so.
Okay.
I had to take my mother to the doctor. They just recapped the Unity Day, and I think it sounds like it was quite successful, especially from the pictures and things on Facebook. It went well. And they're looking into cyberbullying assembly or community night, and they listed the different places they're checking into. And so that's coming up, and we meet again in November, and I will be there.
Okay. Chloe's not here tonight. We're gonna get a board member report tonight.
But if you were to play, she is a very good actress, I did not know that.
She did do a good job.
She did a really good job, I was very impressed.
Insurance Committee, you guys have not met either, have you? Okay. Transportation, Mr. Ballas.
All right. I put a memo in your packet, hopefully that you've seen. So after the committee last time we met, we talked about bus rotation. We thought that the most financially sound way, while still maintaining our fleet, would be to rotate 3 buses per year. Basically what that would do is stagger our fleet and keep it up so that we're not doing a huge purchase again like we had to last time. So I'm not a super great math guy, so I'm gonna talk to this with my hands here a little bit. So the 3 buses would cost around $91,000 a piece, okay, for 3 new buses. Trade-in value, when we put that out, I believe is gonna be around $40,000 a piece for these. So we would have trade-in value for those 3. Does that make sense to everybody? And we do it on a 5 years, just like last time, so there'll be reimbursement from the state for all 5 years. I'm going to switch topics now, but they're all going to come back together here. Through the one-time special ed funds that you guys have talked about before, we're talking about purchasing 3 10-passenger vans. So 10-passenger vans are the max capacity vans that you can drive without a bus driver license. If you drive kids to school and home from school in them, you still have to have a bus driver's license. That makes sense. But you could use them in a secondary capacity for whatever, you know, professional development or extracurriculars or co-curricular things like that. If we were to purchase those 3 vans through that special ed funding, that would allow us to get rid of 2 additional buses that I believe we would get about $40,000 for. So if I bring that back together, if you allowed me to, we would trade 5 buses at 40 grand a piece for 3 new buses. And we would deplete our fleet a little bit more because I think we've been a little overstocked on buses. So you are replacing them with vans, but obviously they're a cheaper, much cheaper vehicle. So if that's what you decide to do, I would have to put out an RFP, a request for bids, to purchase the new buses, but also mainly because we're getting rid of items so we get the best money back for what we're getting rid of, the 5 buses. Does that make sense? The 3 vans will not require a bid on because those went through the state bid. So the state bid those, there's a list, they're all in there, that's the price you get for them. So.
It's Landmark in Springfield.
It's Landmark in Springfield, I've talked to them, got prices. It'll be around $93,000 for all 3 vans. Looking at rough math on it, it would provide savings per year, mainly from the cost of the vehicle, but there are additional savings as well. If they were used for extracurriculars, that obviously would be a savings because you wouldn't need a bus driver for those. Other additional savings, pre-tripping a bus, I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with that, but it takes about a half hour for a driver to pre-trip a bus to make sure it's ready to go. It takes about 5 minutes to pre-trip the van. We spend
an estimated $65,000 in pre-trip money without anybody driving, just walking around. I've tried to find other ways, it's the law, there's no way around it. But obviously, if you took the vans, you would pre-trip it. So there is some additional savings there as well, on top of it just being a vehicle. But I just kind of need to buy the buses to get the best price, and I'm not trying to rush anything, but if we buy them in December, it'll save us about $1,500 per bus. So you're talking about, $4,500 that it would save us overall, if we do it, if you pass it at the next board meeting to buy the buses. So I just kind of need permission to put the bid out there because, we obviously could do it 3 for 3 if you don't want to buy the vans, but we could do 5 for 3, which I think is the best for us.
The vans would replace the bus routes, right?
Yes, yes.
Right,
So,
use them.
let me be specific. So it's like special transportation is what we'd use it for because this is obviously special ed funding. Now, it's not limited to this. You can, any special ed transportation to and from school, but right now what I foresee that being is like we have kids that live in our district that we take to Limestone or we take to Kiefer, and you're talking about bus routes that are running with sometimes 2 kids, sometimes 5 kids, but we could easily put on a van and transport there. So we're carrying, in my opinion, a $90,000 vehicle that we could replace.
Yeah.
So I welcome any questions.
Run
I know
all
you
the
two
way
will help
over
me
to
here.
Germantown Hills.
Yep.
And right now. Yeah.
Take a bus to Germantown.
That's what you have.
No kidding.
When they place them somewhere, we have to transport them.
Yeah.
And,
IAP team.
and before I was here, our only vehicles were buses. And then we had one wheelchair van before, which these would not be wheelchair vehicles. We still have the wheelchair buses, but these would be, they would replace 72 passenger vans, or 72 passenger buses, I'm sorry.
So the quick math is 5 buses are worth 40,000.
I believe we'll get right around 40,000.
And then 3 $90,000 buses is 200, so it'll be 70,000 out of pocket.
I think the out-of-pocket will be right around 80,000 is what I looked at by the time you get everything figured in. I think that would be what we have to finance.
And then what are the vans used?
So it depends, like the base of the van is like, I think it's like 28,000, but you obviously want to have all-wheel drive because we have people who live in the country and things like that. So one of them, we would probably put a tow hitch on in case, instead of taking the bus to haul stuff, we could haul things like that. They come around, one of them I think is 33, one of them's 30, and one of them's like 29.9, I believe.
That'd be grant money, right?
That would be grant money, correct.
It's a one-time expense.
It's a one-time expenditure, yeah. So this would just be for this time, it'd be grant money, but.
We can capture all 3 of them on this grant. Done.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh. Well, I think it makes sense. I was wondering about, I know the transportation budget's pretty tight.
It's really tight.
But that's not in there at all.
That's right, it's not in there at all.
And it actually helps that budget.
Very much so.
Long term. So.
And the hope would be, we need to be safe and make sure we would want to this spring, and the hope would be next year we could reduce our fleet by 1 more.
So we're running about 240 deficit out of our reserves, remember, for those 3 years because we went down to 5 years. And you get your rebate on your depreciation for 5 years. So that's why we're 5 years instead of the 7. And so you're at least going to save 40,000 off of that deficit spending that you're using out of there, if not more, because your labor costs obviously will go down on that. The unknown though is the longevity of that van for the work that we're going to ask of it. But since it's a one-time grant expenditure, not that you want to be wasteful, it's not. We're not as dependent on it as what we.
Even if, and I figured it off, let's say a van lasts half as long as a bus, and we had to use 2 vans, it would still be substantial savings.
Because of the driver, because of the fuel,
Yeah.
because of the maintenance and the van to be cheaper.
The fuel's really inconsequential, and the reason the fuel, and I thought the fuel would be big, but because it's special ed and the reimbursement on the fuel, it's really, it's a small savings, but it's not what you think. So I had that figured in at first, but it's really not as big a savings as you would think. Because that's what I thought too.
Because it's already reimbursed.
Because it's already reimbursed, so well.
Well, in the ride for the children as well, it's going to be.
It will be a better ride for the kids.
You have air conditioning.
Yep.
A better one to drive.
Well, almost all of those have a monitor on them as
Oh,
well.
I think
So,
they're-
yeah.
Yeah, good.
All those require special ed, umbrella would still be in place, it's just the vehicle itself.
Well, then what's the downside? I mean,
We own less buses. I mean,
that's not a downside.
yeah, I mean, not to me, there isn't, I mean, you're asking me to special ed money's not coming off my budget, so I think it's great, but, I guess the thing I'm asking you for is, if this is okay, I need to release a request for bid tomorrow, so that we're ready to go in December, that says, these are the 5 buses, how much money will you give us for these 5? What's the price gonna be for the 3 buses? Even though we've researched and talked about it pretty well, you know, we need to get those hard numbers in so that we can open the bids, and then at December, be able to act on it. I know it sounds like $4,500 is a lot of money, it's, we want to get the right deal, but I think we may as well save that extra $4,500 if we can.
So your plan is then
Would be
to
tomorrow
post the
morning.
bids for bid tomorrow?
Post a bid that sends back 5 of ours in return for 3 new ones, 3 propane, 72 passengers. And then once we have the bid, we'd open the bids on the 22nd. I post them tomorrow, see what the bids are, and then we would ask for action at the
Okay,
next.
you get all the paperwork, so next month,
I did all the paperwork.
theoretically,
And Mr. Slack, you brought up something last time that you said, why are we not keeping this local? So I looked into that, and you're right. So basically what I'm gonna ask when we get that request for bid is I'm gonna see what the bus company, their financer will give us, and I can take those to our 3 local vendors or more and get the best interest rate for our district. So that makes sense. When I thought about that, that was just something I was swimming at the time, so that was a good point, so.
so next month, then the board could expect to see a purchase lease agreement, 5-year lease for 3 buses.
Mhm.
And then a transfer, I think it has to be a transfer of funds from your ed fund out of that grant monies, because that federal dollars comes through your ed fund, and you transfer it over to your transportation fund for the purpose of purchasing transportation for special ed purposes.
I believe the
So-
finance rate would, or the finance amount would be right around 80,000, and I think the rate's gonna be somewhere around 3.9, right in there, right now. It's from just shopping, but we'll see when we get those numbers.
The money's not in the ed, it would come in the ed, and then you would have to.
Do a board action transfer from the ed to the transfer. So I have to do some research on that, but just know that there may be some language action that you guys as a board would have to take to be moving those funds from, for a transportation purpose of transporting special ed.
And as the committee knows, we're gonna continue to keep an eye on that this year, and hopefully we can reduce by another bus, or a bus per van again, something like that, but look at ways that we can cut back and save some money.
Good friends over the line at Bluffton, the ones that kind of put
Yep,
us on.
yep. Called around, talked to some transportation people, and act like I knew what I was doing, and they shared it with me, and they said, this is the guy you go to, this is gonna be the best for your money, so.
We saw that line of Bluff's bus pulling in the morning, I'm like, oh.
Yeah, we saw them bringing their kids on the van, and thought, wait, a minute, this is a good idea, so.
Plus those vans, we send a lot of buses to, especially the junior high extracurricular activities where nobody rides it back.
Yeah.
Yep, and that's.
The driver sits there the whole time.
Yep.
And that's kind of the hope, like I'm hesitant, like I'm saying, 3 for those extra 2 buses. We talked in the committee and, you know, the idea would be hopefully the van could follow a bus there. We could just drop off our kids, bring the driver back, not pay them to watch the whole game. Coach drive the van back. Coach drive the van back. If there's less than 10 kids, you know, there's no reason to pay for a driver to sit there the whole time. But I need to make sure if that takes 2 vehicles, we still have enough buses. And we're going to keep an eye on that this spring because spring's a real busy time. And if we decide that we can get rid of another one, that would be great for us.
And would the, I don't know the exact agreement with the people out here, they would maintain the.
Yep. It'd be no different than a bus with them.
Good.
So.
I don't see the problem. I mean, I'm always looking for that, you know, that's what
The only negative would be that a van probably will not last as long as a bus. We're looking to hope our buses make it 8 years.
Well,
but it may. You know, if it doesn't last 8 years, it's probably because we've used it so much, which is a good thing for us as well.
I guess kind of my thought on that maybe was those buses beat around a lot of those country roads that are terrible. These vans might not see near as much of that.
Which is true, and that's something we'll just have to monitor as we go, and it could be it.
Anybody have a?
So I just need to make sure it's okay with you guys that I request the 5 for 3 bid.
Sounds good to me.
I think it makes sense.
Mrs. Rowley? Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
national conference in Chicago for the school board. Talked about that a little bit already. For those of you who are going, you guys have to schedule yet? I don't think they have an app this year. They had an app before.
Yeah,
It was
I
pretty
know.
easy.
It's
That is an app. I don't think they have an app now. That was pretty handy. I still have to get on and figure out how long the delegate assembly is and all those kind of things.
There's a few of them we're
Get
gonna
my
talk
session
about,
on that.
because I'm sure there's a couple of them that, three of us will conflict with, if you want to go which one, because there's a
Yeah.
couple of them that look pretty interesting.
Typically, for the new guys, we try to divide and conquer, not have, two people go to the same one, so we can actually bring back some other learnings.
There's some really interesting ones.
I'm just excited not to have to go to any proposal contract negotiations.
All right.
Yes, we did, we went through all of those.
Closed session. Need a motion and second to enter into closed session. Purpose of collective bargaining matters, personnel, consultation with legal counsel.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Alex.
Alex. Roll call.
Johnson?
Yes.
Marr?
Yes.
Oldfield?
Yes.
Slack?
Yes.
Stanley?
Yes.
Brewer?